there, everybody. Chris Beatties from Growertalks, Green Profit, and the e-newsletter Acres Online. And we're here to talk about the goods, hot products from the summer trade shows that you would have attended if there'd been any summer trade shows, and there haven't been. So this is kind of the next best thing. We're doing it online. This time I have Janet Sluice, Director of the Sunset Western Garden and Perennial Plant Programming for Plant Development Services. Did I get that title right, Janet? That's a mouthful. That's a couple of titles.
We wear many hats.
She does it all, but the main thing is she's representing the magazine programs for Sunset and Southern Living today.
That's right.
And Janet, your last name is very horticultural, Sluice. Tell me about that.
It is.
You are related to the famous Sluices.
Yeah, the famous Sluices. My family has been in the horticultural industry since the early 1800s. I'm actually the sixth generation. My father's family was Royal Sluice or Gebroeder Sluice, and my grandmother's family was actually Sluice and Groot. She was a Groot, so I from both sides.
That's a Sluice, you pronounce it, right?
Sluice.
All right. Anyway, well, what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at some pictures of, I think we've got 4 varieties that are in the magazine plant programs, both magazines programs. Am I correct on all 4 of these plants?
You are correct.
Sunset and Southern Living. And I want to say right up front that I really respect plants that can be in a Southern Living program and in a Sunset program, because you're talking the heat and humidity of the Southeast and the dry Mediterranean climate of the West and Southwest. And these plants do well in both climates, right? They
do. Not all plants do, but these do.
These do. All right, let's start right in. Diamond Spire Gardenia. Tell us about this one.
So this is a really exciting new gardenia bred by Buddy Lee, who you did with the Azalea program. So we're fortunate to have Buddy as a breeder for us. He really is one of the premier breeders for woodies. And this is a columnar gardenia. So this guy will get to be 3 or 4 feet tall, but only about 1.5 to 2 feet wide, straight up. This is a more cold hardy type. So they're cold hardy to zone 7. They bloom continuously in the summer months. They don't cycle in and out as much as some others. So you can put this in a nice container and have those gardenia scented blooms all summer long on your deck or on your patio. So this is just really unique form, great plant.
So in you said zone 7 or further south, you could have this in the landscape as a nice columnar foundation plant. Otherwise, a beautiful container plant.
Great landscape plant. I live in the Bay Area, and we typically are foggy and cold in the summer, as you probably have heard. And most gardenias don't grow for us here. They don't bloom. They need more heat. This one actually blooms pretty well for me in the Bay. I have it in my garden.
It's beautiful, and I bet it smells heavenly.
It smells fabulous. And you can cut the flowers, bring them in the house. You can do so much with these.
Nice. All right. Next one. Wait, let me get this little change. There we go. Heartthrob Hydrangea. Tell us about this one.
Yes. So this is one of the red hydrangeas. You know, that's been the hot new ticket now, or the new colors in the hydrangeas. So this is the latest one. This is Colster breeding out of the Netherlands. It is a shorter one, as you can tell in these pictures. It's only going to be about 2.5 to 3 feet in the landscape. So this is a really nice one to tuck into a container or in a small area that you have, maybe in front of the house, beginning of a border. But what we like about these is they don't need to be pruned ever. They are so compact that you really don't ever have to touch them. So you don't have to worry about whether you're cutting buds off and blooms off or not. You never have to touch them. And they are a reblooming hydrangea, or we actually say that they bloom on old and new wood. So if you're in a really, really cold climate, you will still get a bloom. It'll be one bloom, but it'll be later in the year. But in warmer climates, you'll get blooms on both your new and old wood. So if you have a freeze in zone 5, you don't have to worry about losing your buds.
Holds the color regardless of soil pH?
Red. Regardless of soil pH, it's red. And they'll, antiquing is very popular right now. You know about all the florists and all the antiquing. So this actually ages to a kind of a bronzy, greenish color in the fall. It has a really nice fall accenty antiquing to it.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Another red flower, maybe with a fragrance. Tell me about it. It's a breeze rose.
It's a breeze. So these are bred from the House of Mieland. So they're a good, solid performer, very strong breeding program in roses. And this is the first one of a series. So we're trialing other varieties now. We have a white one that's probably coming out next year, but this is the first. It's a red. It's a little bit taller than some of the other dwarf compact roses. So this is going to be more in the 2.5 to 3 foot range, but superior disease resistance, blooms its little head off. It's a good pollinator plant. You know, if you can see the pollen on a rose, that's a good sign that the pollinators are going to like it. Some of those roses are really covered up and you don't see the pollen. If you can't see it, the bees have a harder time finding it. So good pollinator plant, heavy bloomer, rebloomer, takes all kinds of heat, humidity, good drought tolerance for us here on the West Coast. We've had no problems with disease on it in the East. So good, solid performing landscape rose.
Part of a collection by any chance? Or?
So we are starting a collection. You have to start somewhere. Right? So we have the first red, and we're trialing whites and pinks now. So we'll probably have a white next year, and then more colors coming.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and then last, I remember seeing this one before. Striking.
Yeah,
It's an architectural plant. So Skyscraper is a great name for it.
Yeah, thank you. I actually named this one.
Nice.
So this is coming out of breeding work in the Netherlands, and being in California, I tell people, you know, I grew up in Southern California in the 70s, and there probably isn't a succulent that I haven't seen. But when I walked into a greenhouse and I saw this for the first time, it just really, it took my breath away, because it was about 4 feet tall, just completely vertical, great element for all kinds of things. So in Europe, they're selling about 5 million of these a year as a house plant. So if it has direct light source or an indirect light source that's bright, you can bring it indoors. But for us in California, and you know, it can take down to about 28 degrees, but it's a fabulous landscape plant. And it's just this really architectural presence. It doesn't need any staking. It doesn't fall over. You know, low water use. It goes well in any kind of mixed container, also in the landscape. But just a good solid plant. And what I'd like to say on this one too is we've partnered with Pacific Plug and Liner now, and they'll be producing liners for us. And that's available through all the broker networks in the United States. So anybody can buy liners of these through PPL next year.
That'd be beautiful. And you know how popular succulent mixed combos are now. What
a
great more upright element.
Yeah, there's not a good center one, because they grow up and then they flop over, and then you have to tie them up, and they're kind of now. Yeah, this is really easy, fast, easy,
beautiful.
Good center.
Yeah, and so availability on all of these Sunset and Southern Living products. Where do you look?
So right now, anything that's going to be in a perennial or in an annual program will be available through Pacific Plug and Liner. And then the woodies are available through us, through Plant Development Services.
There you go. Just Google it and you'll find it, I'm sure. Well, Janet, thank you for your family's 6 generations of service to the industry. Not slowing down at all, apparently.
No, I'm not.
And for Janet and all her kinfolk, I'm Chris Beatties saying thanks for watching this episode of The Goods.